Hey everybody, today we're talking Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Volume 1, The World According to Peter Parker. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent Casina, and today we're going back to Ultimate Spider-Man. It's been 10 months since we last finished Volume 22 of the regular, original Ultimate Spider-Man series, and this is the relaunch of that. So, post-Ultimatum, way back in the day, 2009, it's hard to say because I was a young buck back then, graduating college, but after Ultimatum, Marvel decided to cancel all their books, right? Like everything was canceled. Spider-Man, X-Men, I think were Fantastic Four were the three that they had. Ultimates was kind of, had finally finished up with the Brian Hitch era. Finally did number 13 of Volume 2, so that was great. So they could put out new stuff, right? So they relaunched it as Ultimate Comics. That was the brand, right? So this is Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, not Ultimate Spider-Man. There's a little difference. Anyway, Bendis is back. Brian Michael Bendis is still here as the writer of our Ultimate Peter Parker, but we have a new artist. Mark Bagley had left in issue 111, and then we had Stuart Immonen take over for him through the end of the Ultimate Spider-Man run. He's now left. I think he is doing at this time maybe, is it New X-Men maybe he's starting, or he's doing something else. Maybe that was later. Anyway, so he's gone. So now we have a new artist, David LaFuente. And I got to tell you, this art style took a lot of heat when it came out because you had people coming from 111 issues of Bagley, with Bendis and Bagley breaking the run of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby on Fantastic Four as a writer and artist team. That record, they broke that. Then you had Stuart Immonen, who's not really similar in style, but the same vein. And now you have this gentleman, David LaFuente, who is very anime inspired, I would say. Very cartoony, very expressive, but it's not your typical comic book style. He's more rounded, he's more expressive. His Spider-Man is definitely more on the leaner side. Like we're going back from, like Bagley started this style and you knew Peter was like a younger teenager, wasn't 18, 19, he was more like 15. We're going back to that 15-year-old Peter Parker, and Spider-Man just looks leaner than he's ever had been in the last, 2 years of Spider-Man comics at this point. So everybody did not like this Spider-Man style, that's for sure. This cover especially drew people the wrong way. He just looks young. They complained about his rounded head. It just looks like a circle. Didn't look like the head shape. But reading the comic book, you get past that if you run into those things. Bendis' dialogue, David LaFuente's faces, they're all great. So it really does still feel like Ultimate Spider-Man, even when you have these other characters coming in that are I don't recognize people because other than their costumes or hairstyles, because he is such a different artist from Stuart Immonen and Mark Bagley, which I think is fine. Honestly, I remember seeing it at the time. I wasn't picking these up on a daily basis or monthly basis at the time, but I remember seeing it and being like, oh, that's an interesting choice. I don't think I like that. And then it wasn't until I read it later on and actually read the issues that I was like, oh, actually he's a very talented artist. So get past the cover. Honestly, I think this is a pretty awful cover, to be honest, because Spider-Woman doesn't even show up in this volume. But I think David LaFuente, when he's doing his thing, he's a very good artist, and still felt like Ultimate Spider-Man to me. And we're really going back to this heavy, long banged Peter Parker, and it changes up in the next volume. But yeah, I think that was the other thing too, is people had moved away from if you look at the original Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 1, Power and Responsibility, Peter has these long bangs that come down to his chin. And as Bagley started drawing them and Immonen started drawing them, they just got shorter and shorter, to more of temple level. And then LaFuente brings them all the way back down, and it's like, whoa, why does this kid look so different? And it's like, well, we're going back to the hairstyle he had. So this takes place a couple of months after the events of Ultimatum. Spider-Man was presumed dead, but he's not. And I don't know. I think he's still been Spider-Man for a while, but we're kind of like resetting. There's not a whole lot of like, this is what happened after Ultimatum. It's like, hey, Ultimatum was here. It's now over. We're doing something else. There's a new status quo with the mutants. Like, there's not allowed to be mutants anymore. They're against the law. I think, thanks, Magneto. So you have some stuff with Kitty Pryde in here and some other characters. But mostly it's Peter Parker going up against Mysterio, which is the first appearance of this kind of Mysterio. And Mysterio later on in the Spider-Man crossover, this same Mysterio causes that, right? So it's pretty interesting. Peter and Mary Jane are broken up for some reason. We don't know why. And Peter is dating Gwen Stacy, who still, by the way, lives with him. You also have this new status quo in here where Bobby Drake, Iceman, and Human Torch come to live with Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker, and Aunt May. So that's interesting. You have Kitty coming in, doing her thing, like, you know, she's trying to be this hooded hero, but she's not really doing much. And that revelation, I think, comes later. But it's pretty obvious, I think, like, why else would this other person be here? But it has a lot to do with Mysterio and these other new characters moving in. So it's a fun little book. But really, it picks up with the next volume. So I'm going to end it there. And we will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages. Thanks for watching.